Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm excited about networking with everybody out there right now. We are live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. If you are on Facebook and you want to put in Networking Arizona right there, and you can put that right in there, Networking Arizona, and you're going to see us in here live doing the show. It's really fun to do that if you want to do that. So my first guest has been on with me once before. I have with me Howard Ladron, and he's a Medicare broker for Medicare Advocacy Group. Welcome back to the show. You are extremely passionate about what you do, and I want you to sort of just talk a little bit about yourself and what you do, and what are some of the most popular questions that you get asked?
Well, thank you for asking. Well, let's head off with that. What most popular questions, I'll talk about the most popular questions that I received from doing the show last time.
Okay.
And
what was it?
The most popular was people asked me, how can I save money on my current Medicare supplement plan? And the second question I was asked is, what is the difference between a Medicare HMO and a Medicare PPO plan? So perhaps supplements don't get as much attention in the media because after you chose the supplement plan, the specific one you want, the benefits are basically the same with all carriers, and with Medicare Advantage, every plan is completely different. So focusing on that question with Medicare supplements, they're also known as Medigap plans. Most people that I have the opportunity to work with, they save a good amount of money. In my findings, most people save between 1% and 50% on their monthly premiums.
Oh, well, that's pretty good, right?
That's very good.
Now I want you to take that away for a minute for me, okay? And talk to me right from here, because I want to know something. Because you are somebody that told me that there's a lot of people who have issues, right? They become issues for people that then you can help them. And I want you to kind of talk a little bit about that because you stand out when it comes to that. You can help everybody in Medicare, but this is something that you stand out, and I just want you to kind of talk about that for 1 minute.
Sure. What we're talking about, what she was referencing, is when you're applying for a Medicare supplement, sometimes when you're starting out, when you're 65 years old, you're in your initial enrollment period, and there is no underwriting guidelines or questions, anything you ask, you're automatically accepted. But after that initial time, when you're in a Medicare supplement and you're transferring from one supplement on to another supplement, you need to pass what's called underwriting guidelines. And sometimes with given carriers, because each carrier has completely different underwriting guidelines for the exact same coverage, and that's part of the reason why they're priced differently, is if you apply and you're declined. Well, perhaps maybe that individual carrier doesn't accept the circumstances that you've got, or maybe there's a given challenge that you have, or a health ailment, or several of them. What you need to do is pause, look at all carrier options, look at all the underwriting guidelines, and find the one that actually will fit, that will accept your coverage.
So, I have to say, that was one of the things that I wanted to know with the fluctuation of the prices, why that is, and basically this is it?
Yeah, well, with that, within the price fluctuation, in no specific order, the reason why is this, is your location, where you got your plan, could be your age, your smoking status, there's administration costs from the carriers, internal and exterior costs. Moreover than anything else though, is that underwriting guidelines that each carrier has that are completely different.
And you showed them to me, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What they go through and what you have to go through to navigate to find the right insurance for that person, for insurance carrier, I should say, for each individual.
Yeah. What I did is I brought in a little cheat sheet that I made. There's several of them where it puts, I work with over 25 carriers where I've got all the underwriting guidelines of them all. Maybe they're updated for the last 6 months and I don't have the update, but I have it, and therefore I know which carrier will accept what particular ailment somebody has. And when you're working with carriers, maybe with one carrier, you're going to be considered a preferred rate. But with another carrier, you may be considered a standard rate. Or maybe you're considered standard with one and a high risk with another. That has a lot to do with your premiums that you have no control over, that causes a big variance in between the carriers.
So what should people do?
Well, really, it's more of a two-prong approach of what people should do. I'll mention this to you. Before today's show, Carol, when we went on Google and I was showing you that, and I was showing you that the average agent that's a health insurance agent in the state of Arizona currently works with between 3 to 5 carriers at any given point. What that means is the average person has 4 carriers, and when you're working with supplements, there's over 25 options out there. So the average individual agent that you work with may have 15 maximum 20% of your options. What you need to do is align yourself with somebody who can work with all your options out there. Therefore, what they're going to do is they're first going to identify what supplement plan you want. The popular ones today are Supplement Plan N, Supplement Plan G, or Supplement Plan F. Now, Plan F, if you were 65 in 2019, you can still sign up for. But there's no new enrollees who are signing up for Plan F.
I never even heard of F. They hadn't added another one. I can't believe it.
Well, they're always updating it, and who knows what's going to happen years from today.
Now, you are valley-wide, and this is a no-cost service to the families out there.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do, you say that you like to meet person to person, so face-to-face, and each person, even if it's within the same household, gets a 2-hour face-to-face consultation with you. So if you're doing a husband and wife thing here, the husband gets 2 hours, the wife gets 2 hours. It's each individually that you like to do that, which is very, very extensive. Now, before we go to a break, I wanted to ask you, there are a few rules that you mentioned, and that you might help everyone with those, what they are.
Right. Well, before I get to that, the second thing to do, after you align yourself and you find a carrier with all your options, you want to find someone who understands the underwriting guidelines of each carrier, and therefore you can align with somebody with your specific conditions. And like I mentioned before, someone may be preferred level with one carrier and a standard with another. They could be turned down outright, and you want to make sure that you can align with the company.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a break. We're going to come back. We'll be able to talk further. His phone number is 866-356-7240. He's been doing this for 28 years. He's valley-wide, and when he does a 2-hour extensive consultation, it's completely no charge to you, and he's going to sit down face-to-face with each individual. Again, that number to call him is 866-356-7250. Hang tight, we're going to be back in just a minute. Okay, I'm kind of trying to gear you to not read for me, okay? So that you don't sound like we're reading, okay? So that's why I kind of threw that in with you, because I just wanted to get you to talk right here.
As a sales and marketer, 2-hour free consultation for your service. You're giving away way too much value.
I understand.
You're just way too much. After listening to you talk.
This is why you tell them that. Because if you're dealing with somebody who's 65 to 70 years old and you explain it once, they don't get it. I end up explaining it 2 or 3 times as a necessity.
I get it. Yeah.
Oh, I know. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's great that you
I'm
do
just
that.
I'm just empathizing with you because I've been there, and that's a lot of work to get the
People
business.
love it, and they call and they go, I want that 2 hours.
The big reason is for marketing.
They like to
if
talk
you
to
spend
people.
a lot of time with somebody, they're face to face, not over the computer,
Yeah,
not
sure,
over the telephone.
sure.
They
Right.
want it. The big thing is you get paid every year that they renew their policies.
Sure,
And if
sure.
you meet them face to face, they renew almost 2.5 times longer than if you don't.
Yeah.
So it's actually a business decision. It's a wise decision to do it. But yeah, time is the
He's
most
like,
valuable
"Hey,
commodity
you-"
out there. You're
Yeah.
giving away the farm.
Yeah.
He said that because
Yeah.
he really.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck. I'm just listening to her, and she goes,
It's cool.
2 hours. I was like, oh my god. It's
Right.
And that's 4 if
whatever's
there's
needed.
2 people in
Yeah,
there.
that's a commitment to the relationship. I will
It
give
is.
you that. Yeah.
It
All
is.
right. Good luck.
Yep.
That's
So-
the vice president
Yep.
of this
The important thing here is
Yes,
this. With supplements, we need to get to this.
I'm going to get to it now.
how this
I'm on
works.
that now as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Okay?
Because as soon as we come back, I'll say, So now that you've kind of gave us a background of what's going on and why it's going on, what are we supposed to do? How does this look in action?
So that's not here, is that over
No,
here?
no. Great news right here.
Good.
We need
Okay,
to
then
get
we're
to
on
this.
there. I'm
We
on
need-
there. I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
I need to tell them that, because this is the
gotcha.
call to action.
Okay.
Because right now, 99% of the public thinks they can only do something from October 15th to December 7th.
Okay, gotcha.
You can see, so where are we now? What can they do?
Okay.
And I'll say, well, the great news is this, how it works is this, and I won't even say who I am or what I am, and then I'll go right into the
Okay.
HMO, PPO, and that's a lot quicker than that.
Okay. Don't worry about it. The man that you're listening to right now is my longest running guest of 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
Every month, twice a month.
Oh, I know, I heard him
The other day?
Yeah, the other day I was at, so.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking Medicare. And, at the break we were talking, and it does seem like a lot that you give 2 hours of your time to each individual. That can be 4 hours if somebody has a husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And, it does sound like a lot, but it's also really cool that you do that. Because, first of all, it's hard to understand. Medicare is very, very, it can be very confusing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So the fact that you sit there and that you take the time, and with each individual, I commend you for that. I think that's just awesome. Now, we've been talking a lot about the differences and why people may not be able to get certain things, PPOs, not PPO, whatever. What can people do?
Well, the great news is, what's going on right now with Medicare supplements is, if you currently have a Medicare supplement today, you do not need to wait until the annual enrollment period later this year to switch your plans. You can go ahead. How this works is this: we'll look for the same coverage at a better price. If you're approved, you'll receive both carriers' cards in a policy book that's going to be in your hand. After you're approved with both carriers for the same plan, cancel the carrier that's overcharging you. I always say, save money or stay right where you're at.
So, but you gotta be careful how you do that. You gotta make sure, that's where you come in, is that you will make sure that they're already in place, everything is in place, because that's something, you don't wanna cancel anything. Can you imagine these people that do it on their own?
Yes.
Yeah, and people do
Yes.
and they make mistakes?
Well, yeah, some people cancel their plan, and before they looked for another, and then they realized that they got a plan when they're originally in their annual enrollment period, and they already had several health ailments, canceled the plan too soon, and then when they went to go get another plan, they were no longer a quote-unquote preferred level anymore, then they were a standard level, and then they just got a big price increase.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think gives you a good reason to speak with somebody, especially for someone who's been doing it as long as you have, 28 years. You're here to help the seniors make these good decisions, because sometimes we make mistakes. It is a no-cost service to you, the families out there, and he does do a 2-hour per person face-to-face consultation, and he comes to you. So his number is 866-356-7250. Again, that's 866-356-7250. So let's talk just a little bit, because I know that we're sort of here at the end, right? And I wanna ask you some serious questions. You said that you got some calls from the last time, right?
Yeah.
And tell me about, you said the number one was what?
The number one was, how can I save money with my Medicare supplement plan that I currently have? How can I reduce that cost?
And that's where you come in with all of this,
Yes.
right? Number 2 question was what?
What is the difference between a Medicare Advantage HMO and a Medicare Advantage PPO?
Right, so a lot of people are just tuning in now. Tell them what the difference is.
Okay, well, we'll first talk about the positive, the big positive here. On HMO plans, if you look at your Medicare card, ladies and gentlemen, and look in the upper right-hand corner, it'll see either HMO or PPO, so you can identify which one you've currently got. Now, HMO plans, the biggest positive I hear is they can have lower out-of-pocket costs to you. Now, the reason why is HMOs pay less to providers they have a contract with, so you pay less. So, if you have a contract with them, they'll get paid less for the exact same service, so you pay less out of pocket, but there's a lot less providers that are signed up, and there's several restrictions or challenges that go with that. If we're gonna talk about that, HMO plans, you need a referral to see a specialist. Some people say waiting to get a referral causes delays in care for them, and some people equate the speed of care with the quality of care. So they don't wanna wait to go back to see their PCP or primary care physician for a couple weeks, get that referral, then the referral's 3-4 weeks after that. They don't wanna wait a month and a half. They don't want a delay in care, especially if it's prudent. Now, if it's an emergency, go to the emergency room. But if it's a prudent care that you can maybe wait a little bit longer, it's better to have a PPO plan than an HMO plan. So HMO plans have step therapy where you need prior authorization to actually get a specific medical procedure. HMOs in the Valley, they provide coverage in Pinell and Maricopa County or the emergency room for coverage options. They're very limited for coverage outside of Pinell and Maricopa County, like I said, other than emergency rooms. Some people live here from October to May, and they're lucky, not me, but they're lucky. But some of those people would want to go back in another state where they're located. They would want to get scans or exams or consultations, service, outpatient surgeries, et cetera, et cetera. And unless it's an emergency room visit, when they have an HMO, they really don't have any type of coverage.
And you have a favorite one?
Well, as far as HMOs are my favorite HMO is what I call a specialty plan. It's not a good all-around plan, but it's extremely good in one specific facet. I'll go back to that because that's very important in part of the end of what I'm going to do. Why and how those are used. It's very important. Now, PPO plans. What's going on with PPO, or why do people choose them? The advantages are they have more flexibility and a broader choice of providers. There's more coverage for also in and out of network providers. And you can see a specialist without needing to go and get a referral. Some people like that idea. As soon as they see something that's prudent or they need, they can just pick up the phone and call a specialist instead of waiting and possibly experiencing a delay in care.
Right.
Now, what's exciting, some PPOs as of this year not only offer nationwide coverage, they also offer worldwide emergency room and worldwide urgent care coverage. And for some people, they like that. Maybe they don't need to invest into travel insurance, but they like the idea of having, at a minimum, nationwide coverage where they can travel and they know they're going to be secure. So the only negative to PPOs that I hear is higher out-of-pocket costs. In a comparison-wise, a couple items, I wrote it down here for us. Daily hospital care on HMOs that I work with in the Valley average approximately $275 a day for a hospital stay. On a PPO, it's $385. The emergency room visit is $105 on the HMO, and average is $130 on a PPO. Both are with zero copays on your primary care physician. The rest of it is almost identical.
So it really, though, just depends on, first, number one, each person's story, right, they're going through, what their needs are, and everybody is different, right?
Yes.
And some things are better than others, but it also all depends on your specific needs, right? Now, again, this is a no-cost service to you. The families, he comes out to you and he gives you 2 hours of his time. And not only to one person, but if there's two people, both people get the 2 hours of his consultation. Now, his phone number again, it's 866-356-7250. So what should we end up with, Howard?
Well, the majority of people that I work with are currently using in a Medicare Advantage, if they're using an Advantage plan, they're using a Medicare Advantage PPO every day. And when a specific situation arises, this is when I talked about specialty plans. Here's an example of specialty plans. I'll work with you year in, year out, and I'll ask you, how you doing? Is your circumstances changing? What's your health look like? Also, is there any needs that you see on the horizon? And if you said, as a real life example, someone said, yes, I need $16,000 of dental work done. Well, what we did is we pivoted to a HMO plan that had $20,000 of dental coverage. They completed their dental coverage that year, and they got everything done for their dental work. And then the following year, we went back and switched them back onto their PPO.
So if I heard you correctly, you kind of follow your clients throughout the year, am I correct?
Yes.
So let's say he calls you up and he says, hey, how's it going? I'm just checking up on you. And you've had, oh my God, I gotta go to the dentist. I just have got $10,000 worth of dental work that needs to be done. That's a perfect time for you to say to them, come on in, let's talk, because we can maybe make some changes. Is that correct?
It is, but the changes that we make, there's only certain times of the year for changes.
Right.
But better yet, good thing that you said this. The good news is, if you currently have a Medicare Advantage plan, right now, you do not need to wait until next year to switch or upgrade your coverage. You have until March 31st of this year.
So you see, there is a window of time, right?
Yes.
And that's till March 31st of this year, which is gonna be around pretty fast.
Yes, it's gonna move quick.
So-
We've got about another 3 weeks.
So if you're listening to this right now and you have some thoughts about changing things, you can call him and talk to him now so that he can get you in and change that if they can, correct?
Absolutely.
So again, that phone number to call is 866-356-7250. What else do you want to end up with?
Well, I like everybody to be educated and empowered. When I leave people, I want them to know why they're doing what they're doing and what's going to happen later on down the road. And ongoing care, being there year after year when things change and your circumstances change, that's important. It's really tough for some people doing things on the phone or over the computer. They'd rather look at somebody eye to eye, have a personal relationship with them. It's essential for me, and that's why I spend 2 hours per person.
I love
To
it.
get to know you up front so we know exactly what you need.
And I think most seniors out there, especially our group, right? That's what they like. They still want that personal touch, and they want to be able to understand. And with Medicare, there are so many different alphabets in the Medicare soup that you really do need somebody there that is very educated, that can help you make those decisions. And right now, you have up until March 31st of this year. So right now, up until the end of this month, you can make a change by possibly talking to him and seeing what he can do for you.
Yep, with
That-
any Medicare Advantage plan.
So that number to call him is 866-356-7250. He's valley-wide. This is a no-cost service to you. It makes sense. Call 866-356-7250.